Fame, glory, recognition. These are all things that an elite athlete at the top of his or her game can look forward to if he or she does well. In recent years, Hong Kong's done very well in certain sports. We even won a few Olympic medals. We're talking about cycling, fencing, and karate. Now I want to ask you, what is the value in doing a sport where you get dirty, it's dangerous, and few people know you? I'm here to tell you about one of those sports today, and I am excited. Can you tell us about the sport of motocross?
越野電單車咧，其實就係一種好好玩嘅一種運動嚟嘅，以泥地啦，走山路啦，飛上飛落啦。
All right, so what motocross is this very exciting all-terrain sport that's outdoors. It combines kind of the natural environment as well as some jumps and some obstacles. How did you get into this sport?
我自己中意單車啦 ，BMX 啦，啱啱80年代頭。咁咧有個機會就跟朋友去粉嶺，咁見到人哋喺山度揸越野電單車，咁覺得哇好刺激喎！
So Angus got into sports in the early 80s. He was a BMXer, and one time he followed a friend to Fanlang and he saw motocross and he saw these bikes flying in the air and he got really excited about it, and that's how he got into the sport. Now, I know you were for a few years a professional full-time biker as well. Tell us about that experience.
慢慢參加本地嘅比賽啦，被邀請去參加國際賽啦，跟住走到少少成績啦，跟住內地有啲商業贊助，咁佢哋又俾咗啲車啊資源啊各方面去 support 我哋。
So after contacting the sport in the early 80s, you know, he had an opportunity to take part in some local races. And really fell in love with the sport, and of course he did pretty well, and that graduated him to going overseas, to mainland, to do some competitions and competitions in Asia as well. On the mainland, came in contact with some commercial enterprises who wanted to sponsor him, and that's how the team came about. If you really want to get good at the sport, at what age should you start?
5、6歲左右啦，最好係識有基本踩單車嘅平衡基礎啦。
Okay, so starting at age 5 or 6, and if you have basic bicycle skills, it'd be a big advantage. For the kids who come, are there going to be more boys?
我都好多小妹妹嚟學㗎，差唔多50% 啦。係啊。
Okay, so it's not just boys who play this. Of the kids who come, it's about 50-50 boys and girls, because a lot of the girls want to get in touch with more extreme sports and the great outdoors. What are the challenges that come with promoting the sport in Hong Kong?
香港一個彈丸之地啊，真係揾個合適嘅地方真係唔易。出邊去參加比賽咧，都要借助外界好多唔同嘅地方嘅場地去補習啊。
So the biggest challenge about promoting the sport in Hong Kong, it sounds like, is to find land to do this on. Because of course Hong Kong, concrete jungle, limited resources in terms of land. So you have to find a place that you can practice the sport, but you're saying even if you want to graduate and do better and get to competition level, sometimes you have to travel outside of Hong Kong, go to the mainland or Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
How many people in Hong Kong actually have experienced or partake in motocross?
估計都有2、3萬人。咁而家我估計喺香港活躍玩呢個運動都有2、3千人。
Since he contacted the sport in the early 80s, maybe 20 or 30,000 people have come in contact with the sport. And these days, there are probably about 2,000 or 3,000 active riders in Hong Kong. In all the years you've been doing this, are there any stories or experiences that stick out in your mind?
咁去到廣州參加比賽，第一次見到啲國家運動員同高手過招咧，哇！點知佢哋個速度快我好多，咁我可以想拼命去追啦，咁點知完成唔到賽事，仲受咗傷。
Back in the mid-80s, 1985, you already had some achievements in Hong Kong, and you went for your competition in Guangzhou, and that competition brought along competitors from all around China. You kind of got a glimpse of, wow, this is a different league, because a lot of the riders in that competition were national team riders, and they're riding at a much higher level at higher speeds. And because you're riding with these guys, you wanted to push things a little bit, got injured and was actually unable to finish the competition, but it opened up your eyes. How did that change you as a rider?
又不斷要去改進啦，咁喺07年咧，俾我哋第一次攞到嘅年度總冠軍。
Wow!
囊括咗3屆。
So it sounds like from these experiences, you really took a lot away from them. You came back, you saw the world, you're like, I have to analyze, fine-tune, and improve myself. In 07, 08, and 09, you guys achieved some really good results. You won the China Motocross Championships in 07, won again in 08, and then in 09, you said with a bit of luck, you guys were also able to take #1. And because of those 3 years, you know, that did a lot for Hong Kong motocross because people kind of start to see we can achieve results, especially with hard work, with focus, and that attracted a lot of people to the sport as well. What's the future of Hong Kong motocross like?
我好有信心，因為香港近年咧攞到好多奧運獎牌啦。香港一個細小地方咧，香港人真係好勤奮，同埋將來我相信大灣區俾到更多嘅地方咯。
So it sounds like the future for this sport is pretty bright. You see a lot of good results coming out of the motocross world here in Hong Kong because in recent years, Hong Kong's been doing quite well in sports. We saw that at the Olympics and obviously it's proven that even with limited resources, Hong Kong athletes are able to perform at a very high level. And of course, to look bigger, you have Zhuhai and other parts in the Greater Bay that has lots of land and is close to Hong Kong, so it offers many opportunities for Hong Kong athletes to kind of travel to these places to train.
So I started riding when I was 7. I was watching a TV show that was introduced at motorsport. So I told my mom that I want to ride, and then she bought me. So I started riding since then.
So remember your first experience as a 7-year-old? I mean, these things are pretty big, they're loud. What was the feeling like?
That was exciting. I started riding on a smaller bike, and then when I first started, I never stopped. My mom had to tell me that, like, hey, stop, take a break.
Tell us about the level of commitment for someone who wants to get into this sport. What do you need to do?
You need to have passion of riding. Otherwise, you're gonna give up like easily. When I was 7, and then I think there may be like 10 kids, and then all of them, they gave up.
All of them?
All of them.
You're the only one left?
Yes. Because training is hard, and then sometimes you crash, and then running is expensive, and then you have to train like after school, or train Saturday, Sunday. My friends always ask me to hang out, and then I never go. I say, I'm gonna ride, I'm gonna train. In Hong Kong especially, it's harder, and track is small, and then nobody's gonna support you. All you do is like, you have to love the sport, and then you can continue riding.
Tell us about your training routine on a monthly or weekly basis.
Because I'm riding not like professional. Because before, when I have to race, I would train like 2 months ahead. I would run every day. I would do push-up. I would ride a lot. Because the racing is like 20 minutes plus 2 laps. So basically it's like 25-minute race. Okay. So I would keep riding on a bike non-stop for like 40 minutes. So get my body prepared for the race. Like I would do a lot of push-up, but not like the regular push-up. Just like that. You do push-up, and you do like 40 minutes of it. So
40 minutes of push-up?
Like that, not like the regular push-up.
Wow, okay.
So you make your body, you make your arms strong enough to go on a bike for like 25-minute races.
If you had to summarize what the thing that you've gotten most out of the sport, what is it?
I would say commitment. Like once you're on a bike, you have to be 100% commit. Otherwise, you think of other stuff, or when you do a jump, and then on the halfway, you thought about other stuff, then you might crash.
Yeah. Off the track, are you a car driver or do you drive a motorcycle?
I just got my license.
Really?
Yeah, so I just got my motorbike license on the road.
No way!
Yeah, because my mom wouldn't let me to take a test. She said it's too dangerous.
So you've been riding these things, like these beasts, for many, many years, since you were 7, but you just got your motorcycle license.
Yes.
That is very funny.
On a road bike, it's easier to ride, but then it's more dangerous. Because you go high speed, and then you got many things going around, cars.
Traffic conditions.
Yes, stuff like that. And then you have to like really pay attention on what happened on the road. And compared to the riding experience, this bike, like my bike, the dirt bike is higher.
Okay.
And then we don't have the headlight.
Okay.
Like we don't have like brake light, we don't have the signal. Like we don't have think about stuff like that. We just ride. We just want to go fast.
Right.
On the road, you have to be careful.
What are the biggest challenges with the sport here in Hong Kong?
We don't get enough support. Like, let's say the track is small. Like, sometimes I go race out like in Taiwan or in like Korea, the track is much bigger. Then I have no idea how to ride because I never ride a track like that. In other places, people get sponsored on bike, on gear, but we have to pay our own.
I want to see you in action, Galen. So can you get on this thing and show us a few laps?
Yeah, sure.
Cool, thanks.